Let's look at what's good in the February 20th Gearlab update. And I'll be using the Chinese data mine because English data mine isn't up yet. So according to patch notes, we have 3 new Gearlab gear and a bunch of old gear. So the 3 new gear are the Rainbow AA and Gannet, however you pronounce that, and a new Focke-Wulf. Let's start with the best, because it is the best. This is the best anti-air gun in the whole game for pretty much everything. There are like very few situations where you would use other AA guns if you can afford these. Like for Vanguard ships without super high torpedo damage, the 15 firepower AA gun will be better than 15 hit for damage. It has 15 hit, like this one's hit, 15 hit. So basically it's already an upgrade to the Stag, which has 10 hit for main fleet ships. Main fleet ships usually use the Stag, right? So now they'll usually use this new AA guns. And it also has at plus 10, 142 damage and 1 second reload and 32 range. So that's like basically on par with other Rainbow AA gun. It has 142 damage, it's more than 132. And 1 second reload is quite a bit slower than 0.78 or so you might think. But because of the absolute cooldown of 0.7667, technically. Now I wonder who put this 0.8667 on the wiki. Definitely not me. Due to that, you have to add 0.7667 or more to the reload time. So basically, like it's not a big reload difference. And so in terms of AA DPS, it'll be about the same as the Twin 57. But it has 2 more range, so it's like just better. Even in the era of Twin 57, we still used a bit of Sextuple, because Sextuple has the highest alpha damage, 150. But now the new Rainbow AA, if you can spam them, like 142 isn't that much lower than 150. And it has a bit better reload than Sextuple does, and a lot higher range, like from 28 to 32. So basically, if you need AA, and if you're rich, then you fill the whole fleet with a new AA gun, the Twin 76. Otherwise, if you're not so rich, you just put these on your main fleet first, for the 15 hit. And everything else is standard AA gun things like 360 range, 360 degrees angle. That's the circle around the Vanguard ship. It's short range instead of fuse, time fuse. And it can be equipped on everything, like normal AA guns. The only thing you have to watch out for is that it's not HMS. So like Vanguard, the URBB Vanguard needs an HMS gear. So like usually you would use Stag for that. But if you use this on Vanguard, then you'll have to put a Plymouth gun on her. Quad 152. Next is Gannet. It's an ASW plane. So it goes in the aux slot. And these well, the translation is like too small to show on screen, but so in terms of ASW, it's better than this old one. It has a bit lower damage and worse reload time, but it drops double the depth charges. And it has a secret skill. It says that every 10 seconds, it drops a torpedo up to 5 times per battle. So what is this torpedo? How strong it is? We'll have to do some digging ourselves. So every 10 seconds, up to 5 times, it fires a weapon. Wow. Okay, here we go. So every 10 seconds, it drops a single torpedo from a plane, of course. It is aimed. 1 single converging torpedo with 270 damage and standard armor, standard stat scaling, standard everything, standard velocity. So 270 damage. Actually a bit more than Bruce's single torpedo, but 270 at 100% efficiency. You would use this plane on Unicorn, right? And Unicorn's torpedo bomber slot has 135%. So basically the ASW plane is 1/3 of Rusei times 3/4, which means it's like 1/4 of an actual torpedo bomber every 10 seconds. So it's basically worthless damage. Another good thing about this Gannet is it's craftable, it's spammable in Gearlab, although you don't want to spam them on your fleets anyways. You only need 1 ASW plane at most, like 1 or 0. Now Focke-Wulf 190 G3R1. It has no bombs, no surface damage. Basically, it's support fleet duty. But in the support fleet in Chapter 15, it's gonna be the best fighter. Because its AA guns are basically 30% better than Flapjack's. So Flapjack and Hellcat are the best support fleet fighters according to a few videos ago. And Flapjack's AA guns have 36 range and 80 degrees targeting angle, which are the same as the new Focke-Wulf. 36 range and 80 degrees targeting angle. And at plus 13, it has 142 damage and 0.82 second reload on the AA guns. 142 damage versus Flapjack's 86 damage. That's way higher. And it has a faster rate of fire as well, 0.82 compared to 0.85. The only downside to the Focke-Wulf is that it reloads a bit slower at 9.7 seconds versus Flapjack's 9.01 second in interception mode. But in terms of DPS, it's like 30% better than Flapjack. And the only other downside is 48 speed, so the new plane has 48 speeds. So 48 speed versus Flapjack's 42 speed. Slower speed is better because the plane stays on screen for longer and gets to shoot more. But it's a small difference, and it's definitely not going to make up the 30% difference in DPS, pure DPS. So yeah, before testing, I think new Focke-Wulf will be the best support fleet fighter. And it'll probably also beat plus 13 Hellcats at plus 10, because plus 10 Hellcat and plus 10 Flapjack were tied for best AA damage. And Hellcat you can just plus 13 them if you want, and after you're done with Chapter 15, you can upgrade them to Tiger Cat in Gearlab and get your gold plates back. So one advantage of Hellcat was being 18% more damage, but since this Focke-Wulf is 30% better than Flapjack, basically, before speed, I think it's gonna beat plus 13 Hellcat as well. Okay, so one amazing, one good niche, and one great niche. And that's all 3 new gears. So the only other... Oh, there is one more gear, the Marco Polo thing. It's basically just one equipped by Marco Polo. Firepower and I believe evasion for all Sardinia ships, Italian ships, will be increased by 3%. So useful if you use Marco Polo in an Italian fleet, or with other Italian ships, but not useful otherwise. Cost. So the new URA costs 9 UR design plans, which is basically what we expected. Everything that cost UR design plans cost 9 UR design plans. So like same as everything else, Wyvern and Twin 57. And in terms of electronics, it costs 36 plus 45 because the prerequisite, the Twin 76 Gold, also costs 45 electronics, and it's not obtainable anywhere else other than Gearlab. So 45 plus 36 equals 81 electronics total. And this is gonna be the same as Twin 57's 60 electronics plus this one's 21 electronics. If you weren't here for PR2 research, then you don't have this gun. So now the only way new players can get, newer than PR2 players can get this A gun is by crafting in Gearlab, which costs 21, or by buying it from Protocore, which is an option. It's just a difference of 21 electronics, not really important. The bottleneck is going to be UR design plans. So let's just say this new A gun costs the same as Twin 57. But in terms of priority, it's still going to be Wyverns first. So Wyverns, you still want 1 or 2 of them, like probably 2 Wyverns first with your blank UR design plans. You convert them to planes first until you craft 2 Wyverns. And then after that, it's more free. You can go for the destroyer gun, here, or you can go for anti-air. And if you go for anti-air, then definitely go for the new anti-air gun instead of Twin 57. The only good thing Twin 57 is good for now is probably activating the skill on Breast. She gets a small bonus for having French equipment. So to summarize the priority for UR design plans, again, it's 2 Wyverns, and then after that you can choose between a 3rd Wyvern or a destroyer gun or this new AA gun. And this new AA gun is going to be the like the most spammable thing in endgame that you can get from Gearlab. So now let's look at the last thing that might be of interest to, well, maybe not the last, but I'm too lazy for the other ones. The PR4 gear. So PR4 gear, the gold gear is pretty good. Like, it's really good. There's BF109G and Sayun Kai, and also a decent AA gun, one of the best gold AA guns, Twin 90. In terms of costs, I'm too lazy to mine the costs. So like, if the English data mine is out before I finish editing this video, then I might add the costs in. But otherwise, I'll just put them in the description or something, or just put the data mine in the description. But I did mine the Tenrai costs, and Tenrai costs the Suisse 12A over here, and 10,000 coins as usual for research gear. 6 UR ordnance, 6 T3 ordnance. It's the same as other UR research gear. Twin 57 costs 6 T3 ordnance, and it costs 20 SR aircraft design, which is gonna match this 20 SR main gun designs, and 60 SR electronics, which is gonna be way more than this Twin 57. But you also have to remember that Twin 57 has the precursor, which costs another 48. So it is cheaper, but is it? Because Suisse 12A also costs electronics. So in the end, it's basically just standard research gear cost. Let's look at Drake gun. Drake gun is also 6 and 20, and then some more electronics. Well, Drake gun is really cheap in electronics. It's not an airplane, and airplanes usually cost electronics, as well as BB guns. Yeah, pretty standard research UR cost, and gonna be a very good pickup for new players until they have 2 Tenrais or more. You can get 1 Tenrai from Protocore shop and 1 Tenrai from Gearlab, and then you're set until like certain late or end game comps that use 3 Tenrais. So that's basically it.